Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Welcome to this live transmission of MTA International. At the moment, I'm at the outside studios. Just behind me are the flags. We're talking about development. Having a profession can be essential for one to earn a living for oneself. But using your professional skills to help others is even more rewarding. This is what the IAAE is all about. It was set up by Hazur Akdas, and we have with us here a number of people who are involved with the projects of IAAE. First of all, we start with the chairperson, Akram Ahmadi Sahib. Can you tell viewers a bit more about what the IAAE is and what its aims and objectives are?
The association was set up in 1980 by the then Khalifa, Hazrat Mirza Nasir Ahmad, the third Caliph. And its objectives were initially to ensure that we serve the community and the world at large with regard to engineering, architectural and other technical skills. But also an important aspect was to ensure that with scientific research we were in a position to able to interpret the Holy Quran in terms of the new collaborative research that was going on. And as you know, essentially nowadays, how life started and all that. So there had to be a body who would be able to respond to those issues. In the time of our present Khalifa, Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad, by the grace and mercy of Allah, we've added another dimension to the association's work, and that is particularly in serving humanity. And on his first trip to West Africa, he introduced us to providing water in the most desolate places in Africa, and also electricity to the people there.
Okay. Can you tell us a bit more about this very project, the water project?
Yes. The Water for Life project is a sub-body which we created within the association. And initially, what we found was that when Hazur went there, that it was actually very, very expensive to get water in the very remote locations, and we had to look at alternative methods to bring water to the many peoples that who live there. When we looked into it, to have a new borehole, for example, was over £10,000, up to £20,000 sometimes. But what we found was that there were a lot of pumps which were not working, and we started rehabilitating them at a very minor cost, up to less than £1,000. So through that, alhamdulillah, we have introduced 600 villages to the Water for Life.
So we have a short package produced by MTA International on this very water project.
This Water for Life project was set up under the guidance of Hazrat Amir al-Momineen in 2005. We have, by the grace of Allah, worked in many areas for water provision. The situation in some parts of Africa is very dire. When you move away from the capital city, especially in areas like Burkina Faso, Benin, Mali and Niger, where there is desert, now water becomes really, really scarce. Now there are villages in those parts where villagers have to walk miles and miles to just fetch a bucket of water. West Africa is where the real problems are. So our most work was done in the West African countries like Ghana, Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso, Benin. We have also started work in East African countries like Kenya, Tanzania and Uganda. One of the fields that we work in is the hand pump rehabilitation project, which is rehabilitation of broken hand pumps. NGOs in the past have drilled so many boreholes and set up these hand pumps, but because of the lack of maintenance, these boreholes did break down. We set up a team, a local team. We train them, and the way we give training is we work with them, and we probably do 10 or 15 hand pumps, rehabilitating hand pumps with them. And that's how we train them. So they're involved in the training process. We have also worked in the project where we have been able to pump water using solar technology into an overhead tank and then supply that water to a vast village through which a lot of people benefit. We've worked in 10 countries so far, and alhamdulillah set up more than 650 hand pumps, catering to, for example, each village has roughly 1,000 people, so 650 pumps cater about 650,000 people.
Assalamu alaikum. I have on my left-hand side Honourable Asuman Kiyingi, who is the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs and Regional Cooperation for the government of Uganda. And Uganda is one of those places where the water project has been in place. Tell us a bit more about how the government of Uganda has appreciated these efforts of the Jamaat.
The government of the Republic of Uganda deeply appreciates the work which the IAAE is doing in the country. So many boreholes were repaired in remote villages, including my own constituency. About 100 boreholes were actually repaired. And the work had a tremendous impact on the people there. They are very happy. As a matter of fact, I could even say it had an impact on my re-election in the recent election which we had. People appreciated the work so much, and they said, no, this is the right person, because he brought these good friends of ours. And the Speaker of the Parliament of Uganda, in appreciation of that work, because she also comes from that part of the world, has written to Zul requesting that the IAAE should have a permanent office in Uganda for their good work. So the government of Uganda deeply appreciates. We are very happy, and we thank IAAE and Zul for this gesture of friendship and support the need and poor people in Uganda.
Thank you. Akram Ahmadi Sahab, there's another project which is the Alternative Energy Project. Can you tell us a bit more about this project?
That's right. What we wanted to bring was light to the very remotest part of Africa. And for that, our engineers went as far as China to find out where we could get the right resources. And alhamdulillah, we have now brought light to 150 villages in different parts of Africa, mostly West Africa and East Africa as well. And with regard to this also, may I add, that part of the scheme was also to bring in television, MTA in particular. So alhamdulillah, today we have got 100 remote villages in Africa where we also show MTA as well.
That's brilliant. In that regard, we have another guest with us who is the National Telecommunications Chairman for Sierra Leone, Siré Timbo. Mr. Timbo, in terms of Sierra Leone, what changes have been implemented on the behalf of the IAAE, and what changes have you seen happening in your country?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sierra Leone is involved in the renewable energy, under which the solar energy falls. Now, the IAAE has provided solar panels, lighting system, for 35 months throughout the country. And they've identified 5 villages that will become model villages, wherein they will provide energy, solar energy, for community centers, mosques, schools, clinics, and households. So if you take a village of 50 houses and you provide them, it has the positive effects. There are other benefits that will include, that will provide, like students being able to access the content through the internet, improving the IT system, and going further, they can study at night. And it won't be just an end in itself. It will provide livelihood also to the citizens of the village.
In addition to work in terms of renewable energies, the Jamaat's architects are also building buildings, and we have with us Abdul Adam Sahib. Tell us a bit more about what the Jamaat is doing in Ghana.
Yes, you know, as Muslims, naturally we need mosques where we will worship. We need schools where we will educate our people. We need hospitals and clinics where we will give healing to the sick. And for all these, we need planning. And so the architects within our country who are members of the organization, the Ghana chapter, links up with the European chapter, and then they work on the various plans and the architectural drawings for mosques, for schools, for hospitals and for clinics. So this is a very, very interesting collaborating effort which helps in getting proper architectural drawings as well as the proper buildings that are appropriate to the various
it's not just in Ghana that we're helping.
Not indeed, yeah. I mean, there are other mosques which we are also constructing in various parts of Africa, including community centers, and also in Europe as well. By grace and mercy of Allah, our association has been involved in making the first mosque, or helping in the construction of the first mosque for Ireland and in Belgium. And also, some years back, we helped in the construction design of the Khilafat Centenary Monument in Qadian, which is a very beautiful building which we created. So Alhamdulillah, the Architects Association, part of our association, is also working very, very hard in providing these latest technologies to the Jamaat.
That's wonderful, and it's not just mosques that are being constructed. In addition to that, there's the project of model villages. Let's take a look.
Our services, wherever we carry out, they include architectural designing, engineering design, and detailing for community buildings, residential houses, mosques, and mission houses, or for that matter, any community center or any of overall area development we need. In addition to our coverage in European countries and rest of the world, we are concentrating in African countries where Hazur has advised us to provide all services to humanity in Africa. So we cover master plans of hospitals, including all community services. Recently, Hazur advised us to carry out, to develop model villages in Africa. And the first one was, we started in Burkina Faso. Alhamdulillah, this March, we have been able to complete it. And people living in that village, there are 70 houses.
So Wahab Sahib, you also wanted to tell us a bit more about the Jamia?
Yes. You see, in Ghana, we have had the missionary training college, which is known as Jamiatul Mubashirin, since 1965. And we have as many as 16 countries of Africa and outside Africa represented in the student population of this institution. Now, we want to extend it further so that they graduate as, Shahid graduates, in that they become missionaries who can go to any part of the world on the orders of Hazrat Khalifatul Masih. And so we are setting up the Jamiatul Ahmadiyya itself in Ghana. And for this, we have the architects from here, as well as the architects from Ghana, who have linked up to prepare architectural drawings for the buildings to start.
Okay, let's talk about this Model Villages project. If you can tell us a bit more about what this is.
That's right. What we did was collaborate together all the different disciplines which we've talked about: architecture, electricity, alternative energy, and of course water for life. And what we tried to do was to bring running water to the villages, and this running water would be up to almost the doorsteps of each house. Not only that, but we would also provide light in every home in that particular village, and also street lighting. And from that, it was not just only providing the basic necessities of life, which this project would provide, but also giving them life skills so that they could earn decent livings. Because in the community centers, which we are also going to build, people will be able to, we'll be able to teach them about computing, ladies sewing, and also farming, because the running water would allow in very, very dry countries to have farming so that they can provide cash crops as well.
Let's take a further look into this project.
You have the three different subcommittees within IEEE, namely Water for Life, Alternative Energy, and the Architects. Now, what we've done is we've harnessed all of these together to make a project called the Village Project. And this is where all the subcommittees come together to deliver a complete package. And what this project essentially does is provides flowing water, increased agriculture, sustainable energy, and housing or buildings for a specific village. Now, how do we select the village? Obviously, we're only going to choose villages which are in dire need of everything that I've just mentioned. And We're concentrating, focusing in countries in West Africa. By the grace of Allah and Hazur's blessings, we've started on 5 projects. And these are in Burkina Faso, which was our first project. So apart from Burkina Faso, we have Mali, we have Niger, we have Ghana, Sierra Leone and Benin. So in all of these countries, we have project managers who are looking after the whole project for the country. And normally these villages are sub-Saharan, so they're desert villages in essence, and they have pretty much nothing. So about a year and a half ago, the first country that we, under the guidance of Hazur, that we started with the village project was Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso is West Africa, just north of Ghana. And the first village that we selected was called Ahmadiyya, and it's a desert landscape. So they had nothing. They didn't have flowing water. They didn't have any source of power. And there's about 5 villages around Ahmadiyya, and none of them have power or flowing water. So what we helped them to achieve was we gave them flowing water, and that's through a borehole. We installed an electrical pump which pumps water. The population of Ahmadiyya now get tapped water literally outside their house. So apart from the water aspect, what we've given them is power, and that's sustainable power. So it's going to be there for a very long time. This is through solar energy. So the AEC committee have given them street lighting, and they've given them house lighting, and they've given them power to the community building that we built. That can now be used for vocational skills, and charities can now run their training programs. All of this was done in a period of about 18 months, from start, inception to construction.
We are now joined with Khalid Mahmoud Sahib, who is the Emir and missionary in charge of Burkina Faso. Mahmoud Sahib, can you tell us a bit more about what you have seen with your own eyes happening in your country? Because I understand in your very country there has been the setup of one of these model villages. I know you would prefer to say these words in Urdu.
सबसे पहले तो मैं आपको ये बताना चाहता हूँ कि जो मॉडल विलेज का पहला प्रोजेक्ट हुआ खुदा के फजल से वो बुर्किना फासो में हुआ है और अल्लाह के फजल से हम उसको ऑलमोस्ट कंप्लीट कर चुके हैं जल्दी उसका करने वाले हैं। इस संबंध में सबसे पहले बात तो ये मैं कहना चाहता हूँ, शुक्रिया अदा करना चाहता हूँ तमाम वॉलंटियर्स का, इंजीनियर्स का, IEEE का, जो है सबकी हिदायत और हिदायत की रोशनी में वहाँ जाते हैं, उन रिमोट एरियाज में रहते हैं जहाँ पे वहाँ के लोकल आदमियों को रहना मुश्किल है, सर्वाइव करना मुश्किल है। छोटी सी प्रॉब्लम हो तो तब हमें अंदाजा होता है कि कितना मुश्किल था वहाँ पे रहना, लेकिन अल्लाह की वजह से ऐसे चीज़ जाके करते हैं। दूसरा पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंसेस में बताना चाहता हूँ कि मॉडल विलेज तो एक कंबाइंड एक था जिसमें वाटर का भी था, जिसमें बिजली का भी था, वो अल्टरनेटिव एनर्जी का भी था। तो लोगों के जो एक्सपीरियंस है, जब हमने ये लाइट फॉर एग्जांपल लगाया है वहाँ पे, तो मैंने देखा कि एक आदमी वो बार बार बल्ब को ऑन कर रहा है, ऑफ कर रहा है, ऑन कर रहा है, ऑफ कर रहा है, जिस तरह के जैसे उसने आज तक रोशनी देखी नहीं थी। दूसरा फिर पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंसेस में अगर मैं जाऊँ तो मैं आपको ये बताना चाहता हूँ कि चूंकि अल्लाह की खातिर ये काम किया है, तो जहाँ भी हमने तकरीबन इस वक्त 35 गाँव में ऑल्टरनेटिव एनर्जी पहुँचाई है। तो जहाँ भी ये लगे हैं वहाँ के गाँव के जो स्टूडेंट्स हैं, अगर बाज़ जगहों पे तो मैंने खुद काउंट किया है 100 तक तादाद की स्टूडेंट्स की बैठी हुई थी उन लाइट्स के नीचे जो कि IEEE ने उनको मुहैया की है। फिर पानी के हवाले से अगर आप देखें, मैंने एक दफ़ा मॉडल विलेज में ही मैं जब था तो मैंने देखा एक छोटा सा बच्चा पानी भर के उस टैप से पानी भर के घर लेके जा रहा था, तो उससे वो उलट गया और पानी गिर गया। तो मैंने देखा कि वो जो बुजुर्ग थे उस घर के, वो आए और आके बच्चे को मारना शुरू किया, उसको गुस्से होना शुरू किया, ये तुमने क्या किया? तो मैं पता नहीं कि ये इतनी मेहनत से हम पहले पानी लाया करते थे, आज हमारे घर के बाहर है तो तुमने पानी को गिरा दिया, कितना कीमती है। तो ये इमोशंस जो थे ये वाकईतन मेरे लिए बड़े कीमती उसमें थे।
Jazakallah, that was Khalid Mahmoud Sahib, who told us his own experience of seeing at hand what happens when communities are changed by the IEEE. Akram Sahib, you've seen things with your own eyes as well. Tell us what you've seen.
Yes, I was actually in also as well, and this shows how dire need there is for the water. In one village, 24 hours, people come there from different parts of the villages to collect water. And I went to experience this myself. And I went there 3 o'clock in the morning, and indeed there was a group of people collecting water. You know, they had divided their times at different times. So this shows, you know, the impact this has, that there is indeed actually still a lot more work to be done there. And inshallah, we hope that IEA will continue to serve humanity from that respect.
Well, thank you very much for all your time. We are short of time. We would love to sit with you for longer, but we must now proceed to the main proceedings of the Jalsa.